Hi everyone, my name is Daffa Alif Pratama, an undergraduate industrial engineering student from Universitas Indonesia that has just taken a semester abroad at the University of Pennsylvania under the scholarship from Indonesia International Student Mobility Award by the Ministry of Education of Republic of Indonesia. The last 4 months have been a surreal experience for me studying at an Ivy League university here in the United States. The preparation to go here was quite stressful due to the very tight deadline from the socialization that was given. And also I had to prepare numerous documents and do my English proficiency test in a very short time. I also had to prepare for the interview with the board of the committee. It was a race against time filled with constant anxiety. However, when the decision that I got accepted for the scholarship came out, all that feeling was substituted with abundant feeling of joy. Anyhow, that feeling didn't last for long since there are more documents that need to be prepared in order for me to obtain my visa to go to the United States, factoring in the stereotypes of how hard it is to get approval for a US visa after the interview, and the constant fear of me catching the coronavirus anytime that definitely will disrupt my departure, made all the pre-departure processes a roller coaster of emotion. But alhamdulillah, it all turned out to be fine, and off I went to the States. I am thankful that I didn't experience much culture shock in the States. Partly, I think, because going to the U.S. Was my dream for a very long time. Since I was in the middle school, I used to call random U.S. numbers from Google Hangout just to imagine how someday I would talk with a real person in the U.S. That's how bad I wanted to go. Frankly speaking, though, I still get to experience monoculture shock, like the realization of how much less friendly customer service here is compared to Indonesia, and say how easy it is for someone to say no to others, and little things like the different units of measurement of every single thing here compared to the Indonesia. Anyhow, as like most things, I got used to it as time went on, except the measurement units part. I took several courses that are not core competencies of my major in Indonesia, but have some intersections from what I studied. First, I took MGMT 264 Venture Capital and Entrepreneurial Management by Professor Rafi Ahmed. In that class, we learned about the behind the scenes of the so much hyped startup industry, say about the management part of it, the market part of it. Also, we go in detail to talk about how startups are valued and how it got acquisition and how VCs got their money. We also learn about the negotiating to the best interest of both the founders and the venture capital. Another class that I took is Marketing 211 by Professor Wendy De La Rosa, which is definitely the best class I ever took in my 3.5 years experience of college. Um, we learn about marketing as viewed from behavioral aspect of the consumers. We learn about how brands are associated in the minds of the consumers, how brands got into consumers' memory, how consumers make purchasing decision, what affects the attitude of the consumers towards a brand, among other things. I also took GAFL 502 Public Communication with Professor Carl Margery, in which we learn how to communicate and express our ideas in public, persuade the audience, and also how to communicate when crises arise. Last but not least, I also took Math 170, which walked through ideas in math to fulfill my obligatory course requirements for my major in university. I definitely experienced one of the best times in my college learning experience here. Classes here are much more open and interactive. People are not afraid to ask questions when things get confusing without really much doubting whether the question is dumb or not. Also, I found that students here are not afraid to express their disagreements to the point that was brought in the class by the professors, as long as they got their justification. Another thing that I found profoundly interesting here is the availability of office hours for every class that I take. In Indonesia, we usually come to lecturer's office only when we are writing our thesis or say a scientific paper for a scientific journal. And that's after back and forth of scheduling with the professor. Here, the professor commit a certain times of each week where students can come to their office to talk with them. Say you get confused on a concept or practice problem that the lecturer presented in the class, or you want to discuss other related things that are not being taught in the class, but you're interested in it. Um, or say even when you are confused on what internship to take for the summer break, or even when you need general advice on life, then you can just come to their office hours. Even for some professors, you get to schedule additional time outside of their designated office hours to talk more with them. The notion of a student being able to talk with the professors outside of their academic necessities is something that I found really interesting from the higher education system here in the States. I couldn't be more thankful of all the life-changing experience that I have experienced for the last 4 months. I hope that through the knowledge and skills gained throughout this program, I can contribute for a better Indonesia. Last but not least, I would like to say thank you to all of the parties that have supported me up until this point of where I am today. The Ministry of Education of the Republic of Indonesia for the scholarships, the Department of Industrial Engineering of Universitas Indonesia for all their academic support, and last but not least, my family for all of their moral support that they have given me throughout the years of my life. Thank you so much.